Join us on social media. We're at Kickapoo Valley Forest School on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we update our social media accounts almost daily, so you can get lots of updates and great information there as well. And then our website, kickapoovalleyforestschool.org, is also a great resource for lots of upcoming events. All of our enrollment information and forms will be on our website there. So that's a great thing to bookmark. So with me tonight, I'll just take a moment to introduce the members of our leadership team, maybe just in the interest of time. I'll just say your name and maybe you can raise your hand for those people who are able to see the screen. I know someone just joined on the phone. So I'm sorry you can't see us, but we'll be sure to introduce ourselves. So Jimena Puig is part of our leadership team, and she is helping us to write curriculum and has been very involved in creating this presentation a day at Forest School. Julia Buckingham is also on our leadership team. She right now is in the role of lead teacher and also has created this PowerPoint for you all tonight. And then we have Barb Sarnowski, who is on our governance council and also our leadership team, and Julie Hole, also governance council and leadership team. And then I see a couple other governance council members here tonight as well, Shauna Nelson and Megan Hoffman. Apologies if I'm missing anyone, but these are great people that are out there in our community that if you know them and you have questions about the Forest School, they're here to help as well. So I just wanted to be sure to point them out. Oh, and Megan Gustafson is here with us tonight as well. She's the administrator at Lafarge Schools and also part of our leadership team. I can't see everyone, so if I'm missing anyone, sorry about that.
I think you did great.
All right, so today we're talking about a day in Forest School, and we'll take this evening to walk you more deeply into what the children will be learning at the Kickapoo Valley Forest School and how they'll be playing in and enjoying and engaging with nature every day. So with that, Julia, yeah, I guess I can't remember who's starting off first, but I'll hand it over to you, Anna.
So let's see. We gave a presentation last month about all the, like weather resiliency and being dressed properly for your day at Forest School. But here's a little bit of that information again. We were thinking about how it's so important to have your children dressed properly for the day, but how sometimes if they have all of their layers on in the car, they can become quite sweaty before they even get to school and then get chilly maybe if it's cold outside. So we would recommend just, putting on boots and snow pants in the winter on the way to school, and then maybe putting on your coat and hat when you get there, especially if you have a bit of a car ride. Even though we have a lot of recommendations about what to wear to Forest School, we also recognize that the weather changes all of the time, and so it's really like it will be a day-to-day kind of thing, thinking about what are the appropriate clothing for the day and dressing appropriately. We also talked last month about how you should just expect that your children will be getting muddy and dirty at Forest School, and that if they're doing that, if they're really immersing themselves in the program fully, they will come home dirty, and it's just something to expect. We would recommend always having at least 2 sets of dry clothes at school. There will be times when we might have to change a couple times. We might get dirty a couple of times during the day. So it's good and dry clothes make all the difference. Dressing in layers is also super important so that children can regulate their temperature, take layers off, put them on if they're getting cold, cut the wind, all those kinds of things. And then how important it will be to check all the clothing when you get home at the end of the day, and make sure that the boots get to a heat source so they can dry out, so they don't get soggy feet the next day. Hang up the snow pants and the rain pants and everything like that. And check the backpack to make sure that if there are wet clothes coming home, they can be traded out for dry clothes to be sent back to school, so your child is always prepared. And then if you're interested in a more in-depth version of all of what I just said, you can go to our website, and we have a whole video that we did about weather resiliency and dressing for forest school. But we know that these things are super important to make sure that your child has the opportunity to be really successful at school. Being comfortable and warm and dry in their clothing will make them able to really focus on what they're doing and not be distracted by discomfort.
And also know too that the school is here to work with each family on procuring these materials and gear if needed. So we have some ideas for making sure everyone has the proper gear. And we talk a little bit about that in the video Jimena was mentioning. So Jimena has been working very hard along with our school to create plans and curriculum and just really brainstorming the whole system and how it's going to work. And we have a plan, and we know that young children in particular thrive on routine, but yet we also want to hold that beauty of that curiosity and that sense of wonder, and know that some days we will just see where that curiosity leads us. So we understand that that's all part of the learning. So it's pretty exciting to offer the children the opportunity to follow their own passion and interest, but having the prepared teacher to understand that this is an essential part of the learning process. So we're excited to work with children on that.
So in talking about routine, we'll want to have a very clear routine for what happens when children arrive at school, so that they can feel safe being left there. We know that some of them next year, it will be the first time that they're going off to school or leaving their parents. And that's a big transition for parents and children. So we're planning on holding an open house, or I think it would be a good idea too. I guess we haven't talked about it, but to hold an open house before school starts, so parents and children can come and they can see exactly what the whole routine is. Well, the parents are there, what the play space is, have a chance to experience it a little bit, and then feel prepared for their first day of school. And we'll have a whole system for how children are dropped off at school, where the cars for KVFS park and buses come in, since it will be at the visitor center location of the KVR, and that's a place where other people come to. We'll make sure that it's very, very clear so that children can know what to expect and where they'll be dropped off, so it doesn't get too chaotic. And then we know that parents will, it'll be hard, maybe especially first, depending on the temperament of the child, to be dropped off the first couple weeks maybe. And so letting parents come and walk their children to our outdoor play space. We imagine meeting the children outdoors every day, unless the weather is extremely inclement, and beginning the day so that there's like this drop-off period, and there's a place where children know that they can play during that time period. And it might be a moment when they show their parents something, but and their parents see them arrive there. But we also know that it's so important for parents to feel to let their children know that they feel it's a safe place to be dropped off. And so making a goodbye quick and positive, like, you're going to have a great day, and I'll give you a hug and a kiss, and off you go. Rather than maybe like checking and being worried, it's an important element of these first school experiences. Yeah, and then we'll play outside for a little bit, and then usually set off on a walk.
Mm-hmm. There's the walk.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine. So do you want to describe the walk, and then I'll go back to the circle?
Sure. So we there is research that's been done, like in Denmark, about the importance of a morning walk. They have a lot of forest schools there, and how when children go for a walk and really pump their blood and oxygenate their blood and have that that physical rhythmic experience of walking, they're more able to enter into deep concentration later on in the day. And so that's one reason to start the day with a walk. Another is that it just gives we really respect that a group of children is a whole social body, and that part of that healthy development of social relationships is their opportunities to talk to each other and really interact with each other and work things out with each other. And so talking is an important part that an important thing that we want to make space for in our curriculum, and a walk is a great time for that to start. Children can check in with each other. They tell each other stories about what happened the night before or on their way to school that day. And it also provides this wonderful opportunity for teachers to really check in with students and ask them, maybe they notice something's a little off, and they chat with them a little bit about it, or it helps form the social group of the class to have that time in the morning. And it's also a great time to tune into the environment, which is a huge part of our curriculum. Just notice what's different that morning, or did you see the spider web that's all just draped with little drops of dew, and check in, experience the weather, experience the environment where they are. And sometimes that may lead us to a whole morning exploration. We might not come directly back from our walk. We might be out looking at something that we've either planned or we happen upon, which we think is too precious to pass up that morning. Otherwise, if we don't end up on a longer expedition in the morning, our walk will arrive back at the classroom space, both indoor and outdoor, and we'll begin a longer work time in the morning.
So with that morning walk too, it's definitely taking a time to have a morning circle. A great way to start the day by singing a song or reciting a poem together, and this really helps tie into the curriculum, cross curriculum of embedding music into our day to day, and the language aspects of creating rhyme and rhythm and music together is very important for children. The sequencing skills, memorization, the musical hearing, and the group cohesion. That social cohesion for the class is something really great and important to create. So the morning work time is kind of that idea of an open ability for the child to choose their own work. So the teacher will present an activity to the child, for instance, maybe an art project of decorating a pine cone, for instance, or practicing number sequencing 1 through 10. This work time is a really beautiful idea that young children, no matter what the activity that they're doing, they're working to create themselves. So we're working on a skill to build themselves, to become the person that they're going to be for the rest of their lives. So calling it work time is really this larger concept of children being able to do activities to make themselves better. So these long uninterrupted work periods in the morning when they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed allows them to choose something that they're interested in. The teachers can definitely sort of have them go in the direction of working on numbers if they're struggling a little bit, or working on holding a pencil with more practice forming numbers. That activity time is definitely watched and observed and recorded by the teacher, but definitely letting the children choose those activities that they're interested in. And we're working on this design of the classroom where the children can be either inside or outside depending on the activity of their choice, so that that seamless in between, being able to choose different activities to work alone or with their friends. So it's going to be really amazing to offer this opportunity for children. I think I took your slide, Jimena. So are you interested in doing?
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. If you want to add anything else to work time too, go ahead. You're fine.
I don't think so. Yeah, you did a good job.
Okay.
So during that, we imagine the work time being several hours during the morning, even for small children. And during that time period, there'll often be, will always be a snack provided. And we plan on having a universal snack program. So there's food provided for every child during that time period. Should they be hungry, they don't have to eat it if they're not. Um, and and we really hope to have food preparation and then serving food and cleaning up from snack time and washing dishes. Um, all of those we hope to really incorporate as important aspects of our curriculum that children get to participate in. So there will be an adult working, and any child who is interested can join and help with that process. And set it out for their classmates. And we imagine that it may not always be a full group sitting down to eat snack all together, but children coming as they're hungry, and maybe coming with their friend and sitting down and eating snack during that time. It's at some point over the course of the several hour work time. And we're super excited about having the opportunity to cook snack outside over the fire, and feel like that provides, this wonderful opportunity for all kinds of skills: fire building skills, wood collecting skills, sawing firewood skills, and learning how to cook things over the fire, and then having it also be a really special social, gathering place to come and eat around the fire with their classmates.
Yeah, and we're really excited to offer the variety of food too. Hearty food, get ready to be playing outside in the snow all day, packed with protein, and just, enabling children to learn how to bake bread and cook apples over a fire is fun and a skill, that a very important life skill. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
all tied into the curriculum, which is exciting.
And to just tag one thing onto that is, when children have the opportunity to cook things, especially if they're cooking them with their friends and they're seeing their friends eating them, they're really likely to try things that they maybe not sure about otherwise. It's like this, like just a wonderful exposure to whole. We feel like it could be a wonderful exposure to whole foods, foods that they have maybe had a hand in growing or picked someplace, or seen where they came from, and then they get to eat them, and all their friends are eating them too. So it's really exciting.
So you may think lunch, and then I had to put dot 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 already, because mind you that Jimena had mentioned that this snack, may have started at 8:20 in the morning, and it can span throughout that whole work period. From the time to preparing, cooking, and eating. The children may have eaten at 9, so by 11:30, if they've been playing hard outside, they may be hungry again. So this lunch period can be either brought from home or be provided by the Lafarge School District Food Service. We see, definitely there's no set cafeteria like you would see in a school building, but we're definitely having the opportunity to maybe take lunch out on the trail or eat lunch outside, or have some. We're gonna have a long floor table that can be used inside or outside for work time or for lunchtime, and just have that versatility of depending on the weather for the day, and what the children are interested in doing, that flexibility of being inside or outside. And then just a really wonderful community opportunity, a community building. I really have love the opportunity for teachers to have and sit and enjoy lunch with students, because it's a really great time to learn more about students, to share stories, check in, follow up, and it's a really great bonding opportunity. But then it's also really a neat opportunity for teachers to record maybe some of the really great highlights and discoveries. And Jimena and I were thinking about recording these and having this as a way to then translate into an email, a weekly email, or note home to families just about some of the discoveries that the children were engaging in out in the day. So lunch is a very special part of the curriculum in itself too. So we're excited to be mindful about that.
And then we know that once the blood sugar once the sugar from the food hits their bloodstream, children need to move after they eat, especially small ones. You can see it happening in their bodies. So we know that they'll need to play afterwards, and we thought this would be also a really fun time of the day to engage in group games. And there may be traditional games like duck, duck, goose, or playing with a parachute. There are also tons of wonderful kind of nature awareness games like feeling like what it is to hide and try to be as quiet as you can because there's a fox coming or something like that. All kinds of fun ways to engage deeply with the natural world around them. And this may be also a time where multiple different classes are playing together. So they'll get the opportunity to engage with other social groups that are at the school and other ages of children, and also practice some of the, ball throwing or kicking a ball or, skipping, running activities that may happen in a physical education class at school. And we know that these games, they're about the physical skills, and they're also about the team skills, the social skills, the negotiating skills that come out of playing cooperatively with a group of children.
So after all of this fun activity, hiking, and building forts, so many log sliding. There's so many activities that the children could be engaged in. We know that they're going to be tired. So really being mindful about offering that hour or more time for them to rest. So we are planning on purchasing hammocks for outside use and and rest mats for inside. We're having someone sew sleep sacks, so every child will be able to have a sleep sack, and then making sure that they're laundered in ever so often, and then we can offer families to bring a little pillow or a little stuffy from home. And we recognize that some students aren't going to actually fall asleep, but still to encourage that resting time. So giving them a book to read and just being able to, maybe spend time swinging in a hammock and just enjoying that quiet time to themselves is very beneficial. So, yeah, this would be exciting to see where we can hang all the hammocks and maybe make like a little hammock sleeping forest or something. So that should be fun.
And then we are really excited about the time in the afternoon after rest time when we could set off on adventures on the KVR, because there's so many magical places to explore, and we'd like to kind of dedicate chunks of time that we can really go and be someplace for a while, really explore some other place for a while. And we will. We're thinking that we'll probably have a small bus that we can use, so we can go to places that we can't walk to or ride our bikes to on the KVR, and really take advantage of all the beautiful land that's there. We also imagine this time being a time, especially as the children get older, but also when they're little, to have a place that they visit, called a sit spot, to just sit quietly and really tune in with all the other life forms around them, and also with themselves, and be able to notice time, or change across time, and observe, develop their observation skills and their listening skills, and really tune in with all their senses. May also be a time where they have little journals that they get out and either draw little pictures of something that they're seeing or thinking of, or write a little bit about it. It'll be a time to really, really connect with specifically and deeply connect with the environment around them.
So just as we started the day, we'd like to, close the day with a song or a poem or short story. Maybe some students would be very excited to share something that they found exciting in the day. And then, like we have introduced the, arriving procedures, also, really being mindful about those departing busing procedures and what that's going to look like. And for those families who are enrolled into the school, we will have a lot more detailed information about times of busing and bus stops and all of those if you're Lafarge residents. So that will be all part of it. And that departing procedure can actually be a good chunk of the time to make sure that all the children have all of their mittens and hats and gloves and gear and library book and folder to go home. So those sort of things are going to take, those departing procedures can can take some time.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about phonology and how important it is to our curriculum. So there's a dictionary definition: the study of cyclic and seasonal natural phenomena, especially in relation to climate and plant and animal life. And we had a great time, Julia and I, talking about this last week, and how it just feels so special and so magical to be able to create a curriculum that's really rooted in noticing and being connected to what's happening, the cyclical rhythm of the year, the changing of the seasons, the coming and going of birds and animals and plants, and how we hope to really make that kind of the overarching theme of all of the curriculum that we're working on. And we feel like it can tie into every aspect, into the math part of our curriculum, and language arts and music and art and science and social studies. And it just feels like this amazing, just like totally magical opportunity for a school. And we're also super excited about keeping records across years. And so taking notes, every week, like what are changes that we saw, or today we heard the geese for the first time, or whatever it is, and then being able to go back and look in the school's records. So right there is like this amazing opportunity for language arts development, right? You're that's tied into all other aspects. And then we thought about like how it can be a journal entries, but it could also be graphs. It could be a calendar with little notes on it. And so it feels really exciting and beautiful to root all aspects of the curriculum in our awareness of what's happening around us. And it also will really tie into the cultural calendar of the year, which will be also not only curriculum and what we're focused on for each month, but also these festivals that we hope to celebrate within the school community and with the broader community. And Julia will talk a little bit about our cultural calendar.
Sure. This makes me think we do have a previous video on our website under the Family Resources tab, more specifically about curriculum and how it ties in. But Jimena and I, as we're creating this curriculum, are being very mindful about how everything's connected. So this phenology awareness and calendar is going to show up in our social studies that are going to hit direct Wisconsin state standards social studies requirements of going back and being able to read records and things like that. So we're being very mindful about connecting it all. And then how Jimena mentioned also with that cultural calendar, taking out key things from each month and really having that be the overarching theme of the school. So as we grow, our school will be 4K all the way up through second grade. So the overarching cultural calendar theme will help sort of guide the lessons and like for instance the festivals. So when we look at February, love, maple syrup, family, friends, and ice, we could have a community event called the Friendship Festival where the whole community can come and enjoy sap and made goods and fun activities for family. So it all is tied in. So March is really beautiful. So the frog song celebration, when we hear the first spring peepers of the year, but just being really mindful about what's happening in the at KVR, but also how that can help guide the things that are happening with the community. So these are definitely in just a rough draft form, and we know it's going to change. I have a maple tapping friend who says that, maple tapping is earlier and earlier each February. So we understand that it may change throughout the years, but just sort of starting to gauge that mindset of what we think can help be the overarching theme. And maybe the children will be really excited about one and we'll have to totally ditch something and add something, right? So just being mindful about that and knowing that sometimes these festivals are going to be for just our KVFS school community. Sometimes they're going to be just our classroom or maybe 2 classrooms in the student community. And sometimes they'll be the larger, greater Driftless Lafarge community too. So really having those different forms of community too are important.
Um, so we're planning on having a folder that's in every child's backpack, which will have papers in it where parents can write notes to teachers, and those will be checked every morning by the classroom assistant. And then also where that same folder will be a place where teachers can send notes home to family about anything that they may need to know. During the school day, we're really we'll be communicating with radio to the office, to our little school office, and we probably won't be checking email too much. And so calling the school office would be the best way. But we hope to get a hold of parents. But we really hope to encourage parents to communicate ahead of time about plans that need to be changed. And then we also hope to have lots of other ways for teachers and parents to communicate with each other and as groups. So letters that come home regularly about what's happening at school, what are some things that may have happened that week, or things that are coming up that are important to know about. Also, a couple of parent evenings every year, which are times for parents or guardians to come and join the teachers to talk about, maybe an important developmental stage that they're recognizing is happening in the class, or something that's coming up that we can all work together on, or something that we're maybe even an experience of, like what it feels like to come and have story time at the school. Also, parent teacher conferences regularly scheduled, and then these family and festival events, which will be opportunities for the whole school community to come together to celebrate something important that's happening.
So we are accepting applications starting February 1st. So Janelle had mentioned earlier that they'll be available February 1st on our website. You can either download the paper form and fill it out and send it via mail, drop it off at Lafarge School District, or email it. Or there should be a Google form type application as well. You can also pick up a hard copy from the Lafarge School District. So make sure that the application gets to the Lafarge School District and not the Kickapoo Valley Reserve. So we have time for questions. We can receive questions in the chat, or you can just unmute your mic and ask away. But thank you for joining us tonight.
And next month we'll be holding another session like this that specifically will be time for asking questions about enrollment and more sharing more information about that whole process.
So it was muted, Janelle.
Oh, I'm muted. Okay, so we have a question asking, do any of the instructors have previous experience with this type of forest or outdoor school?
I last year, until the pandemic hit, I was running a pilot program with another person, co-running a pilot program at the KVR for this specific age group, and we spent all morning outside, about 3.5 hours, with children ages 3 through 7 in the end, exploring, cooking things over fires, hiking around. I feel like it was a super fun and pretty positive experience for all the people involved.
And go ahead.
Go ahead.
Janelle.
Well,
I was going to say, and your formal education too, Jimena, too, as far as your background in Waldorf, right, too, I think is huge.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We both have education in early childhood, so I have a master's degree in early childhood education and have been with this age group for quite a while.
Right. And
And
so Jimena comes to us with a Waldorf background, and Julia comes to us with a Montessori background, both having specialties in early childhood education. And then while I'm not teaching, I am, as director of the KVR, have been, doing nature immersion programming and teaching nature immersion programming for many years. And so all of us as a team have been, I would say for several years now, attending workshops on nature preschools and early childhood education, nature education, and reading and doing research and working with mentor schools. So we have really 2 mentor schools who are doing forest school programming now, who we check in with regularly, that are helping us in the development of our school. So while this is really our first go at developing a forest school, we're really working hard at making sure that we have the background and knowledge that we need. And I think collectively our team really does have that. So it's pretty exciting.
Janelle, I saw a few other questions
Yeah.
pop up.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let me go ahead. For students who have IEPs for language and speech therapy, what does that support look like?
So depending on the needs of the specific needs of the IEP, we'll work with them on the individual basis for the school. So within the application process, those IEPs are noted and worked on, and so it's a case by case basis with each student. So there will be opportunities to work with children though who have speech for sure.
And as a charter school through the Lafarge School District, all the students at our school have access to all of the support that they would get at the Lafarge Public Schools.
Right. And another question here. Are teachers in the school traditionally educated as teachers? What are the credentials of the teachers in the school?
Sure. So we're a public school, so our teachers have to have Wisconsin state certification to be a teacher. And so it really comes down to the hiring process as far as are the teachers holding, the passion and the want to be outside and full nature immersion and really understand what Jimena and myself and Julia and Barb and Janelle and Megan, part of our leadership team, as far as, and the governance council, as far as how the vision and the mission of the school and how we want it to grow and be. So we're really right now this year laying the groundwork. So in the future, we hire people who have that same sort of mindset and vision. But like Janelle had said, we come from a team of educators and a background in environmental education and early childhood education. So I feel like it's a dream team of us just melding it all together and creating something unique and special, and in some ways never created before. The way that we're going about all of this, we're gleaning pieces here and there, but I think creating something very, very unique.
Right. So to answer that question in a nutshell, not only do teachers have to have the Wisconsin state certification, but they also have to have a very strong interest in forest school education and nature education and environmental education. So we'll be, really interviewing well for those positions. Another question here is, are we offering shorter days or 3 days a week for kids who don't want to attend every day?
So we're really encouraging families to sign up for the full day, especially those pre-K. We really found a need in the Lafarge area to have full day 4-year-old schooling, and so we understand the importance of getting children into school at a young age and providing that consistent education day after day. So we are really encouraging families to attend the full 5 days. We understand that younger children, you may need a rest here and there, so I think it becomes an individual child basis, but also knowing that when children are 6 years old, the Wisconsin state law says that children should be attending school full-time, and kindergarten is recommended to come full-time too.
We'll try to make the days as really as gentle, as there will be lots of time to play and also that really good rest time in the afternoon. And try to make it really gentle and sweet, especially for the youngest ones.
Mhm.
Great. And Jim, we can circle back to that if you have further questions with that one. Elise says, you mentioned library books. Would there be visits to the Lafarge School Library or the Lawton Library or a sort of book cart at the reserve? And this is something we've actually been talking about a lot. So Julie, I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Sure. It's very exciting. We're very lucky for one of our leadership team members to have her library sciences degree, which is wonderful. And so she's been working closely with the Lafarge School District librarian. So for, sort of a hybrid situation, we are going to curate, we're really excited about, a nature-based library, as far as, we'll have other important fiction and nonfiction titles to it at the Kickapoo Valley Reserve for our Kickapoo Valley Forest School library, but also knowing that this place-based school is important to involve our community. So definitely reaching out to the Lawton, Winding Rivers library system. But knowing that our books are going to be part of the Lafarge School District library so that we can still trade books back and forth with the elementary school.
But
So yeah.
we will have a significant library on site at the KVR for the
Correct.
students to use. Yes.
Knowing that browsing books is a really important skill and activity for young children to participate in.
Absolutely. Another question, do you envision extending curriculum beyond second grade at some point? How do you foresee the transition back into traditional school after attending forest school through second grade?
So we are hoping to expand it. So I feel like I'm the little bug all the time. Oh, and third grade, and when we have third grade, and when we do third grade. So and the school has the Lafarge School District has recently received a referendum, which is super exciting, with the hopes and ideas for future expansion for school for an additional type of school. So if it is an extension of our K through second or 4K through second grade for a school, like that'd be amazing, right? So we're definitely very interested. I feel after year one or beginning, midway through year one, talks about expanding to third grade need to be immediate, and we need to start talking about that more and planning for it. But I really also feel that we're being so conscious and really adamant about a high quality, very studious for school education, that the children are going to be very well equipped academically, but also knowing all the research studies of children being able to be outside and to be in nature can really have a lot of social and emotional and are very developmentally appropriate. So we feel that children leaving forest school at grade 2 are going to have a very well-rounded, solid base of education for no matter where they go. But yes, we are very excited about a third plus option. I think I can't speak for the Lafarge School District, but it's exciting.
Yeah, and I can also speak to the fact that I've worked with this Lafarge School District for many years now. The KVR and the school district have a really great working relationship, and the school district uses the KVR heavily and continues to do so, and is really excited about innovating their connections with the KVR in ways for the upper grades to have more access to nature education. So students who continue on into the traditional school would still have a lot of access to the KVR by attending the Lafarge School District.
Good point.
Okay, and another question is somebody wondering if children will be discouraged from playing closely, if there will be any other alterations due to COVID, such as teachers and children being required to wear masks at any point during their day.
So we will definitely follow the Lafarge School District protocol. So as far as mask mandating and distancing and numbers of students, we went up. That's a definitely a district talk. But yeah, and we'll have to see how it shapes out. Then it's still a few months out. And then another note being being outside, where that's maybe half the battle, one could say. So that's really really good to see, but we're really going to have to just take it step by step and see where we're at in September for sure.
All right, I think I'm at the end of the chat list question. Does anybody else? Oh, there's another one. When students are out on their adventures, will they learn the joy of using nature's restroom? That's a great question.
Yes. So we do have a 50-page family handbook that Jimena and I have written. And when I asked someone if they were a parent and they wanted to see the full 50-page handbook, I was said, are there some sort of Cliff Note versions of this? So we are trying to pare it down and putting very important information on the website as well. But yes, we do highlight that little note in our family handbook. So yes, it is a very important skill to learn how to nature pee. So yes.
All right. We're happy to take more questions here if people have them. We still have a few more minutes. Can drop them in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself again. And if we don't have your email, I do encourage you to drop that in the chat as well so we can make sure to get you on our mailing list. And then maybe while we have a couple minutes here, Julia, you could just take a moment to talk about our on-site program for this coming Saturday.
Yes. So on between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., you are invited to join us at the Kickapoo Valley Reserve. There should be snow. Well, depending on how slick that hill is, it could be fun to go down the sledding hill. So bring a sled. I've been seeing a lot of tracks, so if they're not too disturbed, it'd be fun to follow and track and identify some things out there. So it should be fun. I don't know. Then we might be getting a dusting of snow, so that's when it's on Saturday. So that's when it's really exciting to get out there and look for tracks. So when everything's fresh. So join us.
So it's just just drop in anytime between 10 and 1. We're encouraging families to distance and wear masks, and it's very COVID friendly. So Julia just kind of meets with families as they move through the activities. A few of us other people will be on hand as well, so it's just kind of come as you can in that time frame. All right, any other questions? Don't see anything popping up in the chat here. Oh, all right, thank you, Peter. He says you're doing something great for the area. We really appreciate that. Spread the word, tell your friends. Enrollment is just a few weeks away, and we're really eager to fill up our classes. So please share our Facebook page and our website with your friends and family. Reach out to any of us. Contact information is on the website. We're working on this all day, every day, and we're more than happy to answer your questions, talk on the phone, whatever it is you might like. How many spots are available for students? That's a really good question. Julia, do you want to speak to that just a little bit?
So we have 32 spots, which no more than 16 are going to be 4K. So it depends on numbers. So if we receive more than 16 kindergartners and less than 16 4K students, then we might have a little bit more kindergartners. That may sound a little confusing. So around 32 spots, 16 and 16, roughly. Knowing that application window is semi-time sensitive, meaning that you should get your application in before February 26th. Because if the spots, if the interest exceeds the number of spots available, we'll have to go to what's called a lottery. And so each family is given a number, and we, put them in a bingo hopper type system and pull them out, and the students are picked for a spot that way. So getting your application in by February 26th will ensure that no matter what, you'll get into that lottery system if we were to need to hold one. So, yes.
Right, and another question popped up asking whether or not Lafarge District students get priority, and the answer to that is no. It's open to everyone.
Everyone gets pooled in that lottery system. So, someone who turns in an application February 2nd has the same go at the lottery as someone who turns it in February 20th. So many days later. but that 26th date is the cutoff date.
And if we reach the 26th and we don't have more than the 32 students, then everyone who has enrolled, has applied will have made it in. I hope that makes sense. Oh, we have twins. If the lottery was used, would they be separated?
So families will be given a number. So your twins would be given one number and then placed into the bingo hopper. And so ideally when that one number is pulled, then they both will get in. So unfortunately though, if they're number 32 to be pulled, then you'll have one student at number 32 and one student at number 33, first on the waiting list, if that makes sense. So knowing that over summer, sometimes there's attrition and movement, so that you would still have a good chance of getting in.
All right. Anything else that governance council members, leadership team, anything else you'd like to add this evening?
Yeah, we're so fortunate to have such a wonderful team and community backing for the school. So I think with that, it's going to be really successful just from the beginnings. We just had wonderful people thinking about, environmental education background. Both Julie and Barb here and Megan, the Lafarge School District superintendent, all have environmental education background in their past, so I think we're just really fortunate to have such a dream team of educators that are really excited about this project.
Absolutely. All right. Well, should we wrap it up, Julia?
Yes, it's great. Thank you so much for coming. We'll get this posted soon.
We'll have this online soon. So if any friends missed it, they can check it out as a recording. And thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, guys.